You're listening to Don't Take Bullshit from Fuckers with your hosts Greg Barrett and Kane Holloway.
Hello, welcome to Don't Take Bullshit from Fuckers. It's a bonus episode helping us all not, hey, don't take bullshit from fuckers. That's the whole show. That's the whole idea. That's the whole concept. You're here for some bonus material. I'm Kane. I'm the only one. The reason I'm the only one is because Greg is asleep on his boat. At the cruise ship, he's making so much money from the cruise ships. He bought his own boat, and now he sleeps on it like a retired cop.
Oh my God.
You never hear from him again. Greg, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. Greg will join us whenever he seems, probably next time we record, hopefully. Greg being on the boat is like when I moved to New York.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, when are we going to record? when are we going to get together to record? We don't know. The time change. Where's Kane? Now Greg is me. He's all over the place. I want to start off this bonus episode by talking about something very near and dear to my heart, very close to me, something that affected me deeply and emotionally, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. Oh my God, the pain in all of their hearts, the whole movie.
Right?
Oh my God. First of all, it's shot dark, very dark too. A lot of the scenes on nowhere at night are shot in this like dark but still vibrant kind of beautiful way. Like every color on the rainbow scale has just been dimmed down a little bit, you know, so it's still very like color vibrant, but it's just, I felt uneasy the whole time because the movie starts out with Creep, the song Creep. And the soundtrack, I don't know if the soundtrack was hitting me when I was watching the movie, but after the movie, I started listening to the soundtrack because I do it for every Guardians movie that's come out.
Oh.
So Creep by Radio, the acoustic version of Creep by Radiohead starts, and we start with a shot of little baby Rocket being taken out of his cage by the what's his name?
The High Evolutionary.
High Evolutionary, played by the guy who was in Peacemaker, which is a great show. James Gunn made that show. And that dude, straight up, full on, pure evil, the purest of pure evil villain that Marvel, I think, has ever had. And he then we cut to grown-up Rocket, who's on nowhere, and the Guardians are just sort of like, they're like a family that had a big fight on Thanksgiving, and no one made up yet.
Yeah.
Like they're together, but they're sad. Everyone's sad for some reason, and then it just sort of goes from there. We finally get to see Adam Warlock, and he's goofy as shit.
He's really goofy.
He's not like that in the comics or the video. Did you play the Guardians of the Galaxy video game?
I didn't, but I'm super familiar with the character through comics, and he is he's the exact opposite. He's very godly.
Yes.
In comics.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so this guy was like a goofy baby, which I guess you need to cut the tension, but he still was he was menacing. Because he just fights like a loose rhino. He just sort of like, he gets out and he's out, and then if something is in his way, he's trying to fucking kill it. He has no regard for anyone around him. And all of Nebula's upgrades are cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty insane to look at, and she kind of feels like the leader most of the time.
Yeah.
Like Nebula's kind of taking charge because Quill's all torn up about Gamora being dead and back, and not his Gamora. And she's such a cock in this, the new Gamora. She's such a dickhead. And then the inciting incident, spoiler alert moving forward, just so we can like talk about it, but the inciting incident is Rocket is injured by Adam Warlock and he's going to die, and they can't put these healing packs on him because he has a mechanism on his heart that if somebody tries to operate on him that's not the high evolutionary, he will die. He'll just like his heart will explode. So they have to find the code to unlock this thing so they can that it's on his heart so they can heal his heart. And so that's the whole movie essentially. And I loved the scaling down for the third one. So
yeah,
instead of them saving the galaxy, they're trying to save Rocket.
yeah.
So I loved that part. I love that was what the movie was about. And then it was all about the emotionality that everyone feels. Drax's little dumb one-liners are really funny in this. I found this one genuinely funny, and it didn't have Marvel-esque quips in it. It felt very like I laughed through a lot of it. And they cut the tension, the sequence, the 2001 Space Odyssey sequence where they're all floating out to go into that little like meat base.
Yeah.
It felt like a Rick and Morty episode.
It really did.
Yeah. And you got Nathan Fillion in there as some sort of like big guard, and all his lines were hilarious. And but like the tension in this movie, especially with the going back and seeing how Rocket is formed, and he might be like the smartest creature in all of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I mean, they set him up to he's smarter than the High Evolutionary. It's a big plot point.
Yeah, he's smarter than the High Evolutionary. He even says something about it in Avengers Endgame to Tony.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, you're just the smartest guy on Earth. Why don't you relax? And yeah, so then I was like, he's going down. Yeah. He's dying. I thought the way Adam Warlock was fucking punching away at Drax, I thought Drax was gonna eat it early. There
were a couple of scares, deliberate scares, be like, oh no, they're killing somebody. Yeah. He's like, right now.
Yeah, I got a popcorn, M&M's, soda, and I didn't touch any of them the whole movie. The whole movie, my soda went flat, my candy just sat there, and the popcorn went stale because I'm just like, what the fuck is gonna happen? And I loved it. It felt very like, the more I get to know about the Guardians, it felt like the most like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, because you have everyone on nowhere. You have the Russian space mutt. What's its name?
Cosmo,
the Russian space dog, and you get like Howard the Duck is no longer just he's not just like a after credits scene, like he's like in the movie. And it just like felt like it felt the most like a Guardians of the Galaxy comic book accurate movie, with all of the emotional stakes involved. And the end of the movie is perfect. Yeah, like this time around, no one has to die. There's no Yondu father figure.
Mm-hmm.
Root doesn't have to eat it. Rocket doesn't die. You think Star-Lord's going down at the end, but then He gets saved. No one has to die, and yet it's still a very emotional and sad ending. The Guardians, as we know them, break up, and then there's the new status quo as Rocket is the captain, and then it's Rocket, giant Groot.
Yep.
He's like a big rock.
Yeah.
And then who is on it? Who else is there?
I'm looking up a list right now. I believe, God, what the new that girl that's in the new Guardians. I believe that's supposed to be Phyla, the daughter of Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel in the comics, the one that died of cancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Phyla Marvel, and Adam Warlock is also a member.
That's right, Warlock.
And his fuzzy pet, whatever the hell that thing was.
Yeah. So yeah, we got Groot is Kraglin, Cosmo the space dog, Rocket, and
Quasar, Warlock and Quasar.
Quasar. Yeah. Yeah. Star-Lord goes to Earth to see his grandpa. Gamora goes back to the Ravengers, her new found family, who seem to all miss her and love her. Nebula is president of nowhere with Drax as caretaker.
Yeah.
And they all dance and sing at the end. And God, what a fucking emotional nightmare, that fucking movie. I'd say it's probably the best. I'd put it up there with some of the best comic book movies. One of James Gunn's best movies. I think personally, his movies, I'm not diehard Gunn, you know,
Okay.
like I don't love everything he's done, but I do think that this is his, out of the 3 Guardians, this one is my absolute favorite. I would put it up there with The Dark Knight and Infinity War and, you know, Spider-Man 2. I think it's just as good, you know, as all of them. I did a review on my Instagram. I gave it 10 out of 10. I think it's like perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, I loved it. I went to go see it by myself in a theater in Koreatown here that I bought a ticket for a matinee, and I swear there were less than 10 people in the theater. It was on this ginormous screen. It was in that Screen X. I think that's the format that I was telling you about, where they also project the movie on the sides of the walls, which really adds to the immersiveness of it. It really swept me in because there's all those big space scenes and like touched on so many emotional beats. And I know that James Gunn at one point wanted to do an adaptation of DC Comics. They have an imprint called Vertigo. They put out a book called We Three, which was about animal experimentation and vivisection and like bionic animals. And this is really kind of lets him do that story here too. Like all the flashbacks with how Rocket was created are horrifying. You realize what he went through to become Rocket. It's heartbreaking. Yeah. And then all his little animal friends, they have such a wonderful friendship. And what happens there is just crushing and just unbelievable. And when Rocket was dying and he was going to heaven or the afterlife or whatever, and he sees his friends and they're like, sure, you can come along, and then at the last second they're like, but not now. You're getting me. You're really getting me.
Yeah, that whole, when everyone gets taken out and it's just Rocket standing there.
Yeah.
And when Lila gets killed.
Yeah.
He's just standing there screaming. He's just like screaming and crying. It's like nothing I don't think he's ever felt like this before, and I don't think he understands what's happening. So it's all just like, this is brand new, and this feeling is horrible. So he's just like standing there screaming. And then when the High Evolutionary starts mocking him, he's like, all right, that's it. And takes off and starts scratching the shit out of him. And then he kills those guards, and he turns around and the rest of them are dead because those guards took out Floor and Teefs.
Yeah.
Oh, you fuck. You son of a bitch.
Yeah. And you wondered, because you see the High Evolutionary's face in the beginning, and it's got the pinned back sort of skin face. And then you're like, and then you see him in flashback. You're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And he looks a lot like RoboCop.
Yeah, he does look a lot like RoboCop.
He looks so much like
Fun
RoboCop.
fact, you might know this from the other Guardians movie, but the Ravagers, like the Crystal Dude and that sort of snake demon looking sorcerer supreme being and the Sylvester Stallone character, those are all the actual original comic book Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right. I remember reading something about that.
From like the 1960s. Martin X and Yondu was one of them originally. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yondu's Finn in the sequel is like, you can kind of tell there's something so funny about, I think we can all just stop doing this now, like comic book, like directors and comic book movie producers. You can all stop being so hesitant to do all the weird comic book shit. You can just do it. Just do it now. You know, give Yondu his big fin from the start.
Sure. But if he didn't have the big fin, then Craiglin wouldn't have had his journey where, he's got to learn how to control it. And, it comes to, obviously Yondu was his dad figure as well. And there's a whole lot of issues playing in here. Great movie. Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah, I love it.
And fuck you for making me think like at least 3 of the Guardians are going to die during the movie. And then nobody dies.
I know. That was.
I'm glad they didn't, but like, you really got me a couple of times.
Yeah, dude. I was, and it, like, start of the movie, they could have done it the start of the movie. You could have killed Rocket, but then then it would have been about a revenge story rather than saving so that wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah. But you could have killed Drax. You could have killed Drax there.
Oh, you could have killed him, but Drax is so good. I love Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista is so good. He deserves everything like all the success and praise that he gets. He's really good. He's great. The 5 minutes he's in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yeah.
Is so good.
Yeah.
He's so good. Knock at the Cabin is just a pile of shit, but he's great in it. He's great he's good. I like him in everything he does. He doesn't miss for me.
Yeah.
He's like my new like Arnold. Any movie in the 90s that Arnold was in, I saw. I begged my parents, can we please see it? Can we put it in? I want to watch it. Let's watch. If Arnold is in it, I'm watching it. And that's how I feel about Bautista. I'll go see it if Bautista's in it.
Yeah.
So
well, now, let me ask you this. At the end of the movie, they've obviously set up Star-Lord as his own character who's going to star in his own set of movies. Any interest there?
Yeah, if he keeps the momentum going, because he's such a child in the first 2, and this was the first movie that I was a fan of Star-Lord. I think the first 2 movies I was a fan of everyone around him. I like the emotional beats in the first one. And I know that you got to center your movie around like essentially one character.
Yeah.
And and Peter's been like our emotional. He's the one who's like dragging everyone into his nice guy world. Like he's a nice good guy. He's got a little bit of Indiana Jones to him, where he's
Definitely.
like you may or may not be able to trust him at first, but when you're in his good graces, he'll do right by you. And but I just always just was like, I like everyone else. I like the growth from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like what happens with Drax, Rocket, and Gamora in the first one, and how they soften to then want to be a team with him.
Right.
And so this movie, he felt like he was on his own. It felt like he was on his own within his own team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when he goes up to the High Evolutionary with Groot into the building to get the codes.
Yeah.
You know, like he didn't tell anybody his plan. As far as he know, they all probably died on that planet.
Right.
You know, Peter just has, Peter just is like going through something until he was able to like finally get some growth into what seems like manhood.
Yeah.
And actually being like taking charge and being, because it's like the whole movie, Mantis is the one being like, you got to do this and you got to recognize this about yourself, and he just like won't do it.
Right.
And then eventually he does do it. So if they keep that momentum going, then yeah, I'll see some Star-Lord. I'll be excited to see Star-Lord in the new Avengers movie.
Right.
Whatever happens with Kang.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. Like Peter had to lose his family to grow up and be a man.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens at the end of the movie. He's on his own again.
Yeah.
And then my other question, taking into account the end of the movie, do you want to see a movie with the new Guardians? Should they make a movie with the Guardians?
I don't think they should make any more Guardians movies. I know they're probably gonna make more Guardians movies.
Yeah.
I don't want to see. I don't want to unless like if Rocket is the new guy and the
Right.
new Captain, and this is the new, like, James Gunn's not making any more Guardians movies, so everyone's gonna be hesitant going in. I know for sure. I know so many fans are gonna be like, okay, well, let's see what this guy has to bring to the table to make these movies. But yeah, if they make, I'll see them, but it'll be like when they gave Zack Snyder the reins to the DC universe. I remember when they announced it was going to be him that was making Superman. I just was so disappointed.
Totally.
I was so disappointed so early.
Same.
I was even more disappointed. I had no faith.
None. I was disappointed before the first shot rolled.
I know. And then the trailer for, but I just like, you just, or it's like when I found out they were making a Terminator 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was so stoked for the idea to find out. And then you find out, then I read Linda Hamilton and James Cameron have nothing to do with it. And then I got so confused.
Yeah.
I was like, how is James Cameron how does that even work? How do you give that over to somebody? How does that happen? That's his movie, like exactly. I just had so much confusion behind it. And then I was like, whatever, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. And then I walked out just so sad. I was legitimately sad at how bad that movie was. Yeah. Like I have such emotional connection to the first two Terminator movies that when the third one was bad, I understand when people are like, dude, it fucked my childhood in its butthole. You're being facetious. And I'm like, right. Terminator 3 was my Star Wars. I walked out being like, that fucking ruined my day. It ruined my day, for real. I remember it ruining my fucking day. And I think that's why now I don't get that upset when movies are bad anymore. I kind of laugh because I think I've reached my lowest low. And that was Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. That's as low as I've gotten. And now when movies are bad, I'm like a disappointed mom, you know? Where like I'm just like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. You could have done better.
You could have done better. Nice. But not James Gunn. He could not have done better. Great way to say goodbye to the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to what's coming next from the DC universe.
Yeah, those post-credit scenes had nothing to do with anything. Like, and I like that. I like that it had. I'm over all this being connected. I don't care anymore, so I don't care to sit through to see how you know. And it's a movie that doesn't need it. It like if there were no post-credit scenes, would have been the same. It would have had the same effect.
Yeah.
You know. But obviously they do that. But I'm glad that they didn't try to go, here's Kang or whatever, or here's a new big bad for the Avengers to fight or something. Like, I'm just glad that there was like, let us enjoy what we enjoyed. I don't want to anticipate something new. I don't care.
Right. Even with Star-Lord, which they did set up that there's new movies coming. It was like, you know, watch Star-Lord hang out with his granddad. I mean, like, I don't know.
Or like he's in the Avengers, or, you know, this is kind of like at the end of Age of Ultron when Iron Man leaves and Thor bounces, and then it's Cap, Natasha, Falcon, and Vision.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is our team? Boo. Fucking boo, bro. But this is Rocket's cool. I wonder if Bradley Cooper will keep doing it.
I'd imagine so. That's got to be a great and easy paycheck.
Yeah, for sure. And he's so good. He's going to be up for an Oscar for Rocket.
What?
Yeah, he's going to be the first actor ever considered or nominated for a mocap. Oh wait, that doesn't make sense. Andy Serkis wasn't nominated?
Yeah, that seems crazy. If he wasn't, that's lunacy. Because Andy Serkis is the king of that shit.
Yeah, Andy Serkis, Oscar. Did Andy Serkis win an Oscar for Gollum? No. There is an ongoing debate about whether a motion capture performance should be. Okay, look, I love Rocket, but this is some bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. Bradley Cooper, the first guy to get nominated. He's not even in the suit. It's fucking. It's James Gunn's brother.
Right.
That plays Rocket.
That's right.
This is like when we had on what's his name? The guy who was in Suicide Squad.
Oh, which one? Greg just texted.
Greg just texted. I was looking at that. Who are we looking at?
Who was the guy that was who do we? I can't remember his name. Steve Agee.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Steve
like when Steve Agee was like when Steve Agee was like, yeah, all those fucking interviews where Stallone's talking about being King Shark. It's like, oh, you were King Shark. You weren't the one in the big fucking suit with the cage on your head so everyone can see you're a shark.
Yeah.
And then so then James Gunn's brother doesn't get any recognition. I mean, like, there's two people giving a performance.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Serkis did both the performance and the voice. And he doesn't get retroactively nominated. This is fucking ridiculous. And he played Caesar, and he was the mocap for Caesar. He did the whole thing.
He was the dragon, Smog, also.
He's everything. And it's Bradley Cooper. He just lent his voice. That's insane to me now to think about it. It's insane. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Actually, I think Benedict Cumberbatch might have been Smog. I can't remember.
Benedict Cumberbatch, yeah, he was Smog. That's fucking insane. I can't believe that. And I don't agree. At first I was like, yeah, good for him, because I have an emotional connection to this movie and his performance in Rocket and his whole sequence where he uses the boots to drop down and on Rocket Raccoon and wow. And then the rest of the Guardians came in and kicked the shit out of him. He deserves the Oscar. No, he does not. No, he doesn't. Fuck his Oscar. Fuck his nomination. Fuck his performance. Boo. That's insane. That's insane. White men always getting their way, not giving it up to. I know Andy Serkis is white. I just wanted to say white ass, privileged ass, white men. It's because he's hot too. It's because he's good looking. So good looking white guy gets, and it's not the ugly British guy. I was so mad. Now I'm mad. That's ridiculous. Well, what did you guys think of our Guardians of the Galaxy review? Did you guys like it as much as we did? Did you hate it? Did you think James Gunn should come back? Are you excited for James Gunn's DC universe? He's even during the writer's strike, he's writing Superman Legacy, and he, I'm a big fan. If Guardians of the Galaxy 1, even 2, and 3 are evidence of anything, is that he's probably going to make a pretty awesome Superman movie. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for a new Superman. I know everyone's up Henry Cavill's ass about how he should be back because he was a good Superman and he was perfect and blah, blah, blah. No, we're done with it. Yes. I never liked him. As I'm like in this weird camp by myself where I don't like Henry Cavill's Superman. I don't like him as Clark. I never thought he was right. I thought he was like too big, like way too big. Like I know Superman is big in a lot of the comic books. Like he's a big guy, but he's like too big. He's like hunky. You need like that whole. Did you ever read All-Star Superman?
Oh yeah.
So you know when like he's Clark, he like hunches over, he kind of pushes out his gut, and and he's got his hair down in front of his face. Like I believe those are two different people.
Yeah, like, Christopher Reeve did a great job in the original Superman where he's talking to Lois and he's like this, and then he just sort of straightens up and you're like, oh shit, that guy's Superman.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just like when he takes off his glasses and he starts to rise up a little bit and you hear the you know? So I'm excited for a new smiley, charming Superman, somebody who's like, pretty lean still. Like Superman doesn't have to be huge. He's a Kryptonian.
Right. Like I never understood why Superman was so muscular. He's super strong. Is he working out? Like,
yeah, exactly. Also, if Superman has a beard in one scene, show us him cutting off his beard with his laser vision.
It's the only way it's happening.
Because what would be the point of him having a beard, Zach, if you don't show how, the whole time I'm like seeing the movie where he's on the fishing boat and he's got a beard, and then you see him rescue those guys on the oil thing, and he's covered in flames, and his hair is on fire. And his beard is on, his face is, everything apart on him is on fire, and he's perfectly fine. And his beard and his hair is untouched. So then you think to yourself, like, well, how does Superman cut his hair? Because I've seen the trailer, and he doesn't have a beard the whole movie. And if fire doesn't do it, then how does Superman cut his? And then it's just off his face. In the next scene, he doesn't have a beard. Why have him grow it, Zach? You fuck. I saw a thing the other day about he's like because all the new DC stuff is coming out, and people are all interested in what James Gunn is gonna do, and it's like Zack Snyder did an interview where he's like I just don't think people understand my movies. I'm like, you don't understand your own movies. You set up these scenes and then you don't pay them off, you fuck. You don't either. Did you see the Army of Zombies or whatever, that Army of the Dead? Did you see your own movie? Sometimes I wonder if you actually, do you watch it when they edit it? Do you put a blindfold on a monkey and spin him in a chair and then have him edit your movies? They're incomprehensible. I fucking hate you. Anyway, are you excited for the new DC stuff? Put it in the comments. And thank you for being a Patreon subscriber. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.